Okay, so I thought we could work into some strength exercises and drills for our shoulders and get into our modified Chaturanga and just work to strengthen for a full Chaturanga. So let's take 2 soft blocks if you've got them. And so coming into a variation of child's pose, we'll just start this way, bring in the blocks out wide. You want enough space in between for your head. We're going to take and walk our elbows forward onto the blocks. We're going to take them a bit close and you can adjust them. So you want to take the elbows and bring them all the way to the front of the block. So I'm just going to take a moment to walk them forward. And then let your chest sink down. And you can take the palms together here. And then once the head drops down towards the floor, maybe it reaches, maybe it doesn't. And take the thumbs to your spine or the base of your neck. And I just want you to take a few deep breaths here. So I want you to think about the breath as a wheel or a circle. There's no beginning and there's no end. So not finding a pause at the top of the inhale or the bottom of the exhale. Just try to find this continuous movement. Nice and steady. You can just envision maybe a Ferris wheel and that just moving around nice and slowly. So we're in a position where our back is exposed, so taking the breath to the back side as you inhale. So maybe expanding between the shoulder blades or right along the bra line. Let the ribs expand out to the sides. Feel a buoyancy, a lift with each inhale. And a heaviness and softness, all at the same time as you exhale. Maybe since we've been here a few minutes, we can walk the elbows a little bit further forward. Get more of a stretch in the backs of the arms. Taking maybe 2 more breaths. Good, and then we can extend the arms forward. Bring the palms to the ground, look forward. Let's just take the blocks out to the side. And slowly walking the hands towards the knees. We can bring the knees together here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep with that circular breath. So inhaling fully, feel the rolling of the wheel as you breathe in and breathe out. And I want you to find these movements, and I don't want you to necessarily follow exactly how I breathe, but finding a rhythm that works for you. So take the hands together, interlace them, and I want you to push the palms away from you. As you do this, round the upper back, hollow out the upper abdomen. So feel a nice stretch between the shoulder blades. And this typically would be, I would teach this as an exhale, but maybe it feels good to inhale here. Get broader in the back side. And then the next movement here, we're going to release the palms, open the arms out and bring them all the way back behind you. Interlace them again. This time we're going to squeeze the palms towards one another. And typically I would inhale the lift here, the chest lifts, but maybe it would feel good to exhale. Maybe you take an in-breath and an out-breath in each position, so just finding what works for you. Coming forward with the arms, interlace the fingers, press the palms forward. I've exhaled here, and then I'm going to inhale. Good, and moving at your own pace with your own breath, however you'd like to do it. You can explore it different ways each time, or do it slow and feel an inhale and an exhale in each position. So as the hands are back behind you, you're arching the spine, and then the hands come in front. You're rounding the spine, hollowing out the underside, your belly. Let's do this maybe 2 more times. Staying with that circular, nice and steady breath. Good. And then just for a moment, just give the arms a bit of a shake. So I'm just going to turn to face you. I want you to, from here, interlace your hands behind your back. And then take them over to one side. So the shoulder here, so for me it's my left, it might be your right, is feeling a nice stretch. So interlace and pull those knuckles forward and down and feel a nice stretch through the shoulder. Keep the abdomen engaged, so we're not going to let the spine arch. We're hugging, drawing these ribs into the hip bones. And then we're just going to come to the other side. Again, feel it. Pull the knuckles, squeeze the palms, feel the stretch in that shoulder, and just make sure the belly is nice and firm. Good. Let's do 1 more time each side. And inhale, then I'm going to exhale, find the stretch. Taking another breath here. Transitioning to the other side. Good. Then we can release and give the arms a shake if that feels good. So we're just going to invite some movements to the arms. So one arm goes up and the other arm goes down. So bringing it up, reaching the fingertips towards one another, but we're not going to worry about trying to touch or even clasp. So the fingers might graze each other, but that's not the purpose of this. Just finding some mobility in the shoulders, finding a little bit of stretch. One more time each side. Good. And just releasing, give them a shake. So the important points that I commented on come into play when we're in our Chaturanga or a modified plank, lowering down, is to keep the torso nice and straight. So this is not a place we want to be, puts a lot of pressure on the back. So we want to take the ribs, hug them in, so it's almost like a little crunch into the, just engaging the abdomen so the ribs come towards the hip bones and keeping that. And you see how straight my spine is and how straight everything is. So I'm not here and I'm not necessarily here either. And then we can just bring our hands by our sides. So when we come to an optimal Chaturanga position is our arms at 90 degrees. Not an easy thing to do. When we hold this, it's a lot of strength, calls on a lot of strength in the shoulders. So, we might be more like this, but we're going to work towards this position. But we want to not be rounded in the shoulders to get there. We want to be open. So I want you to think when we're doing any sort of plank, forearm plank, Chaturanga, that we're reaching the chest forward, or not necessarily reaching, but broadening the chest. So I'm going to activate the upper back to draw the shoulder blades down. So if I'm standing here, I've got my arms at 90 degrees. I'm going to activate these muscles and feel the heart reaching forward, stretching. And then I want to make sure I've got the integrity of my back. So I've got to hug the belly in a little bit. So do that from the side here. Here, chest expands. So I've got the little arch, and then I'm going to take upper rib, or the ribs into the hip bones. So I'm nice and straight here. Okay. Let's come into Anahatasana, heart-melting pose, or often called puppy pose. So I'm going to stack my hips on top of the knees, and then I'm going to reach my arms forward. Good. So really spread the fingers, press down with the hands, and just allow the chest and the head to drop. So the forehead might reach the mat. If it doesn't, you can take a block underneath. If you're super open here, you can reach the chin towards the ground. And just feeling a stretch to the front side of the body. Finding that circular breath if you've lost it. So feeling the ebb and flow of the inhale and exhale. Allowing the exhale just to dive a little bit deeper into the stretch. So my forearms are not quite resting on the mat, but they're close. But I want to keep nice active arms here, even if they are resting. Good, and then I'm going to take my forearms all the way down, eyes of the elbows facing one another, and I'm going to rock forward. So you can modify here and keep the knees down, the toes can be tucked, or you can come to a full forearm plank. Good, and again, reaching the chest and then tucking the belly in. And we're just going to hold here. So great for the core. Really good strengthening posture for the shoulders. And again, if you need a break, just take the knees down, but keep the integrity, keep that long line. So if we're taking a rest and taking the knees down, I've got this long line from shoulders to knees. Let's do one more breath. Good. Keep the engagement in the belly. And you can always take the knees down, but I'm just going to lower the hips down. So keeping the belly nice and tight. Good. Untuck the toes. Maybe you need to walk the elbows forward so they're right underneath the shoulders. And keeping that engagement, so not losing the engagement in the low abdomen, but keep that and reach the heart forward, getting a bit of stretch in the upper abdomen. Good. And then we're going to come back up. So I'm going to tuck my toes, and I'm going to lift back up. Good. And from here, I'm going to come side to side. So we can just take the hips side to side here, or we can come all the way to a side forearm plank. So I'm going to come over on my right side. So I'm going to take the right hand and bring it towards the center of the mat, and I'm going to rock over. One foot can just be in front of the other. Good. And then I'm going to slowly come down. Take a moment, adjust left hand, take the heels over to the left, one foot in front of the other, right arm goes up. Good. Switch. One more time each side. Inhale to lift up. Not sinking into the joint here, really lifting and pressing up. Coming the other way. And lifting. Good. Coming down. So we're going to slowly take the hips down and then just lay the chest down. Forehead can rest. Take the fingers and tent them at the top corners of your mat. I'm just going to rest my forehead for a moment. My elbows are going to reach up. So I'm feeling a little pinch or squeezing together of my shoulder blades. Active in the legs so the tops of the toes are down. We're going to inhale. Just do these little cobra waves. So coming up as high or staying as low as you want. Inhaling to come up. Exhale to come down. Inhale. Lift. Exhale. Come down. Let's do two more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Last one. Good. Exhale. We're going to come to that modified plank. So I'm going to walk the hands back. So I always like to cue it. A lot of people take their Hands right underneath the shoulders. You see my arms are not at 90 degrees. If I walk the hands back, I've got my thumb, it's probably in line with my bra strap here. Walk it way back. Squeeze those elbows together. Tuck the toes. This is not easy to come up without using your knees. So for today, and you can work up towards it, we're going to press into the knees. Toes are tucked. Start to lift the belly off of the mat and then press into the hands. And come all the way up. And then I just want you to push back towards a child's pose. So keeping the toes tucked, keeping the hands where they are. And just stretch the back and the sides of the shoulders here. And then we're just going to come back and forth from this. So this is our sort of hybrid child's pose. And then we're going to rock forward to that modified plank. So let's inhale to come forward. Good. Chest reaches, engage the back, and then hug the belly in. Holding. Let's do 2 breaths to hold here. And then bring it back. And we'll move a little faster. Inhale, rock forward. Taking a breath here just to find the connection with the core and with the shoulders. Expansion in the chest. And then release. We'll do one more time. Good. Coming forward. Inhaling. Exhale, adjust. Exhale. Come down. Good. So if you've got your blocks handy, I've got my hands nice and wide here. I'm going to keep my knees and my feet just where they are. I'm going to take my block to the highest height, and I'm going to wedge it between my pointy finger and my thumb. And I'm going to do that on the other side. So this is just telling us when to stop. So I would probably say you won't be coming down this low, but this you don't want to come down lower. So it's a shoulder's pretty delicate, and you don't want to damage the bicep tendon by coming down too low and sort of sitting in a position with the shoulders down. So this will keep us nice and high. I'm going to rock forward to plank and just see if I've got my at the right position here. Good. Again, shoulders, blades drawing down, belly in. I'm going to inhale here, and I'm going to bend either. It could just be a little bit. It could be quarter of the way. It could be halfway coming to that 90 degrees. I'm going to bend and lift. And you can always take rest and just stretch back. So coming down to tap the blocks is not easy. But we don't want to come any lower than that. So we're just going to take this a few times. So we've done 2, maybe we'll do 8 more. Inhale the rock forward. Get that optimal position. And then we bend. Come back up. And take a moment of rest. Inhale, come forward. Find the right position. Bend down. Come up. So keep the gaze. You don't want to tuck the chin and look back. You don't want to crank the neck and look forward. So you're looking right in front of those blocks. And probably about 5 more. Not rushing here. Making sure what needs to be activated is activated. Finding the places where you can soften in this pose, even though this is a challenging one. Forehead, jaw can be nice and soft. So notice if you're tightening anywhere that doesn't need to be. Let's do 2 more. And when you come down, when you bend those elbows, make sure that the hands stay flat, especially the pointy finger and the thumb. You can actually sort of grip the mat. I'm going to do 1 more. Grip the mat with the fingertips to make sure those hands are engaged. Good. We can just move the blocks to the side. Come into a child's pose. So untuck the toes. I'm going to take my forehead down. I'm going to wrap my arms around my body, so my fingers are touching my toes, allowing the spine to round, allowing the shoulder blades to spread, and letting my shoulders cascade over top of my knees, and just finding a nice few calming breaths here. Finding that circular breathing. You'll feel your heart pounding a little bit. So just trying to steady your breath and just slowing everything back down. Taking maybe 2 more breaths. Good, and then we can come up slowly. I'm just going to lean over to one side and swing my legs out in front. Good, so I'm going to come to lay down. Use the full length of your mat. Let's see, let's take the right arm up overhead. You can bend the knees slightly, and we're just going to roll onto the side. Good, I'm just facing away from you so you can see what's going to go on with the arms here. So this is like a reclined Buddha. We're just laying softly, our arms resting on our hip. From here we can inhale, lift the arm up, turn the palm to face back behind us, bend the elbow, bring the back of the hand to your back. So it can be here in the low area. You can work it up higher. You'll feel the stretch already, but we're going to roll onto our back, and it's going to get a little bit more intense. So just adjust if you need to. If you've gone too far as you roll, just roll back and come out of it a bit, or if you know you've got some more stretch. So I'm going to roll onto my back here. Good. You can, if it feels better, to bend the knees or keep the legs straight, whatever works for you. So I feel my hand that's behind my back pressing into my right shoulder blade. So I'm going to breathe into that area. I'm trying to take the breath into the back side of the body and press into the hand that's behind. The arm that's back behind you, make sure you draw that shoulder down towards the ground. Good, let's take 2 more breaths. Relax, soften that shoulder. Good, after this breath, we're going to roll back onto our side. It's always a little stiff to come out, so extending that arm, maybe moving it a little bit. Good, and then we're just going to roll right onto our back and adjust and get ready for the other side. So other arm goes up by the ear. You can bend the knees just a touch and roll onto the other side. Let the head rest on the upper arm and let the lower arm rest on the hip, and just breathe here for a moment. Good, when we're ready, the arm can reach up, turn the palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow. Just notice there might be a little, no difference, a little difference, or quite a large difference between sides. Just take note. So I'm going to slide the hand over and then up. Notice how much range of motion you have, and then rolling onto your back. Just knowing you might need to adjust. Again, knees bent or straight. Tune into your breathing, so trying to drop that shoulder down. Taking the breath into the back side of the body, so really pressing the back ribs into the hand that's behind your back. You can notice if you can relax the feet and the legs, if you can soften that shoulder. Notice how the breath can take you deeper into the stretch. As you breathe and press into that hand behind your back, you really expand the ribs in the front and you just feel a little bit more. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Good, and we're going to slowly come out. So bending the knees if they're straight. Roll back onto your side. And then slowly come out, maybe moving that arm or shaking it, doing any movements that feel good. And from here, just rolling onto your back. Good, and we're going to just take maybe a minute in Shavasana. So set yourself up, let the feet splay to the sides. Palms are up beside you. And I want you to lift the chest just a little bit and tuck the shoulder blades down the back. So we're trying to get the tops of the shoulders down on the mat. You're going to feel the natural curve in your back. And just let go of all breath work. Letting the breath flow naturally. Eyes are closed, face is soft. No tension in the jaw, relaxing arms and legs. The work here is just letting go, allowing the body to feel heavy, feeling the imprint on your mat. And then just start to deepen your breathing here. Wiggle fingers and toes, maybe, and a little bit of movement. Might feel good to stretch the arms overhead, take the feet together. And then bending the knees in, rolling onto the right side. Take a moment here. Just notice how you're feeling. And then, in your own time, pressing your way up to a comfortable seated position. So if the eyes open, just gently close them once you've sat up. Resting the hands in your lap or on your knees, sit up nice and tall. Take 3 deep, full breaths here. Good. Last inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, palms together, bring them down to your heart center.